Greetings, everyone. We've had an amazing set of speakers so far, and hopefully you've taken some insights from each of the various topics. Our next panel and topic is around self-funded innovation and enterprise modernization. And I know those are heavy words, so we'll unpack that with some great panelists. Without further ado, I want to jump in. We have Deidre, who is the Senior Director at Blackboard, which is at the forefront of education. We have Dr. Lee Burton, who is the founder, co-founder, and managing director of a very interesting company called Functional Movement Systems, FMS, which is into health and fitness. And last but not the least, we have Philippe, who runs all the EMEA IT for a very interesting company called Enersys, which is a global manufacturing powerhouse when it comes to stored energy solutions. So welcome to all the panel members, and thanks for being part of this session. We have heard from many of the other speakers, customers, partners on how digital acceleration powered by cloud, powered by new business models, particularly in today's pandemic world, has even further amplified the need to reimagine business models, to reimagine your digital innovation strategy. And for the next 25 minutes or so, we're going to deep dive with very specific examples across these various industries on how each of the panel members and customers here have adopted different models, different business models, as well as reimagining their IT landscape and modernizing it to be future ready. Deidre, Blackboard is a household name when it comes to education. Everyone knows about the organization, but if you could shed some light on the company, and also what are your technology priorities, what architectural initiatives you're driving in today's sort of environment to keep Blackboard at the forefront of digital transformation?
Sure. So Blackboard is a leading provider of educational technology solutions covering the K-12 through professional or business and government industries. Our key priorities within IT in supporting that are customer focused, not technology focused, in three core areas. We're enabling streamlined and simplified business processes, improving the client experience, and promoting user understanding and adoption of the systems. We do this by ensuring system interoperability and scalability, as well as data integrity, security, and governance across our integrated ERP and CRM applications. We also develop the capabilities and systems to incorporate artificial intelligence for improved decision-making and client support. Finally, we have promoted and implemented effective change management practices for communication and training of our user base. As far as the initiatives that we are driving on the architecture to improve, leaders must make decisions that balance technical agility and business priorities. Choosing platform as a service or software as a service can lead to orders of magnitude differences in operational costs based on usage and access patterns, while allowing the company to react much quicker to customer demands. Our focus now is on laying the architectural foundation that will allow the company to continue to quickly adapt as a leader in the rapidly changing needs of the education industry. Syneritech has helped us along this journey by providing the agile development and QA resources needed to respond to growing demand on our internal SaaS enterprise applications. This agile development method has enabled us to build effective solutions rapidly using short iterations, design thinking, refactoring, and continuous delivery.
Thanks, Deidre. So, velocity and getting product out of the door quickly is become a huge imperative. And with so much changing customer demand, particularly in your industry, which is getting disrupted, how are you driving speed and a product mindset when it comes to continuous releases, when it comes to new functionality that you're getting out of the door?
We focus on delivering functionality that adds value with prioritization aligned to the strategic objectives of the company. IT strategy and development are much like product strategy and development. We continuously check application and system usability and fit for current business needs. Additionally, we anticipate and develop the business case for modernization, showing the expected value of innovation. We must be able to clearly articulate the challenges, both tactical and adaptive, that we expect to solve at the end of the modernization journey. Finally, we take advantage of the SaaS model, which allows us to produce customized functionality with minimal effort, focusing on applications that do not require a trade-off between simplicity and this customized functionality.
Those are some great insights, Deidre. And as we look at the education industry or even the e-learning sort of industry, it's expected to grow to 100 billion in the next few years. What is your vision from a Blackboard IT Lens perspective in terms of how you'll help drive the business or enable the business grow in the future, and particularly with new models to fund or self-fund your digital innovation?
Sure. Simply put, my vision is for IT to continue to be a valued partner in defining and delivering on the strategic objectives and innovation of the company. We'll self-fund initiatives by shifting resources to prioritize on those with the most value add, leveraging the valued input of partners like Generitech and others in areas of development, project management, and service delivery. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to highlight how IT can partner with business leaders to innovate and support the self-funding of company transformation. It's great to see companies like Blackboard and Generitech working to provide educational opportunities and opportunities for people to still collaborate and network, even overcoming the challenges that we've particularly had in 2020. Thank you.
Now, a challenging year, to say the least, with the pandemic, and health and fitness has become even more critical than ever before. Functional movement system, FMS, your company is at the forefront, very uniquely positioned. So let's start with that. If you can talk about your company, your organization, and more importantly, how is FMS continuing to innovate and continuing to find new business models and new revenue channels to drive growth for the future?
Yeah, it's definitely been challenging for everyone in pretty much every field. And you know, first and foremost, thank you all for allowing me to be part of this, and anything that I can share that can certainly help is tremendous. Yeah, so our company, Functional Movement Systems, or FMS, has been around for quite a while, primarily educating fitness professionals, physical therapists, chiropractors in the health and fitness world, educating them, and so they can, you know, in turn, help their clients and their patients and athletes perform at a higher level, and again, overall be more healthy. And, you know, typically the way we traditionally have taught those professionals is really in two ways, and that's both live education and online education. So we were really early on teaching online education. I think it's been 10 years now when we actually put up our first online for sale education. Before that, we were doing the DVDs, and even before that, we were doing some VHS tapes. So I'm showing my age a little bit, but you know, we were really, I feel like, ahead of the curve a little bit with providing online education. But still, with what we do, it's really, you need that interaction, you need that touch. And what the pandemic did for us, you know, we had to get away from that, and we had to quickly pivot to just focusing online. And in the health and fitness industry, it's really taken a huge blow, not having that interaction, whether it's been physical therapists and doctors and physicians not having the patients come in to get treatment, or whether it's the fitness professionals not having their clients come in. So, you know, we're looking at people who are losing their paychecks, losing their jobs potentially, certainly not wanting to go out and spend money on education. And of course, for us, we had to, you know, stop doing our live education, which for us, having the platform to deliver online education already in place, already having a lot of our education, it was very easy for us to pivot and focus on that. But interesting enough, it also, we saw an uptick in online education sales. So we lost, obviously, revenue, and we lost the ability to do that live interaction, but online revenue and online opportunities increased quite a bit. And we started doing more of those. Because we have our own in-house studio and we have our own production team, we're able to do a lot more education, a lot more online offerings. So we really, not traveling and getting in front of people, we just pivoted and started doing a lot more online, and it's paid off for us quite well.
FMS is also funding a lot of the innovation initiatives, and consumer experience, your user experience is central, right, into your strategy, into your business. If you can talk about how are you modernizing your product development and new functionality and capability to make sure it's transforming the consumer and user experiences?
Yeah, I think the use of technology and the platforms and the applications that we really need, because of what we teach individuals how to evaluate the body and how to check their movements and look at certain things like, can you touch your toes? Can you squat? And really what we teach is how to score those. And based off the information, we can then generate results. So in essence, we have a software logical system that we teach, and it makes sense for us to leverage that logic in a software platform. And that's really what we transitioned to a number of years ago. And for basically some guys who have no background in technology or software, we really leaned heavily on the experts in that field, such as Sonera, helping us with being able to take what we have in our heads and being able to leverage that and be able to deliver that. And that's been, for us, it's been very challenging, but it's also been very rewarding to see kind of the wireframe, if you guys in your talk, how we lay that out. And then what that's allowed us also to do when some of these professionals that we teach, we want to give them the resources to use that in their practice and in their gyms. So they input the data, and then that data gets spit out a report and gets spit out some recommendations. But also that data, what we've also started using is using that data to continue to tweak our message and help us continue to evolve as an organization, as an education company. So we knew going in, we definitely needed the data, but we also needed a development team around us to allow us to access it, but also create the user experience on the front end. So again, people would be more likely to input the data. And again, what I continue to learn is how important that data can be, but also how you got to go into the process early on and set it up the right way so you can access it at a later time. So, again, there's so many moving parts and so much happening behind the scenes that I was not aware of, that we have to think about and consider if we really want to leverage not just the providing the resources to our customers, but being able to leverage that data on the back end.
You mentioned technology, which is critical in today's environment, in particular as you're modernizing your landscape. Can you talk about how you're leveraging partners like Sonera Tech through this journey of modernization, through this journey of adopting cloud and new ways of working?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of feeds off a little bit what I said earlier, is we are a small company. We're a small company, even though we're a fairly large brand in our space, but we are a small company, and we are self-funding all of our technology. And I think that's the challenge is, when we know in our heads what we want and what we think, at the end of the day, think the consumer wants, or our professionals, we want to build that and put the resources into that. And it's a gamble, it's a risk. We're certainly working, and I think we've got a great product that we've got in version 1. I mean, we're still looking at version 1 as far as an application, and we're spending a lot of resources in doing that. Now we have to spend the resources to get it in front of people. And there's no guarantee that, people are going to be, people are going to buy it. So there's always going to be that risk reward. And that's just the nature of, owning a small business is, understanding that you've got to leverage technology in a way, but you also have to leverage in a way that at the end of the day, people are going to use it. And I think that's, just as much money and time has to go into building it as it does getting it in front of people. So it's self-funding it and putting resources to it has to be very, very strategic.
Those are some amazing thoughts and learnings, Lee. We're all living in an ecosystem, and I know FMS partners with multiple organizations, whether it's hospitals or gyms or even athletes and insurance companies. Can you talk about your sort of partnership strategy and how you're innovating with the broader ecosystem?
Yeah, it's very important for a company like ours. We're a small company, and you know, our brand is pretty well known in our space in the health and fitness world, but we're still a small company, and it's really important that we have strategic relationships to help get our message out. We don't have a team of experts. We don't have a marketing department that has a bunch of people. We're limited in that area. We're partnering with people to help us build our technology. But for us, we have to find those strategic relationships, working with hospitals, clinics, gyms, and getting them and working with those decision makers, those business owners, is very, very important to help us reach the people we want to reach. And leveraging, again, technology in a way that, you know, is going to, you know, make sure that we align. You know, we've definitely vetted certain people that don't align with what we're trying to do. So it's that alignment and that relationship is critical for us to reach the people we want to reach with. You know, leveraging different pieces of education, technology, Blackboard is something that, you know, I was a former educator, so it's very, very important right now during this time that you leverage and get that right partnership. But it's important that you don't, to me, we look at it as more of a very much a relationship, not so much as just a business partnership. Thanks,
Lee. One final question. 2021 is not too far away. So as we look in the future, if you could share, what is your vision for FMS as you look 2-3 years down the road? So it's very important as I, as the owner of the business, have to go out and determine who's going to be the best partner and create that relationship, and specifically technology. And what, you know, the relationship we built with Synera has been tremendous, because at the end of the day, it is risky. We are taking a risk. We are really self-funding these initiatives, self-funding, in this instance, our application. It's a risk. We're investing, we're putting the resources into it. And I think, you know, again, we really rely on the development team, on the team leaders to help us take what's in our head and to get it out there and really help us make sure that it's going to be good on the user end. The user experience is where it needs to be. And Synera, I think the one positive, one of the better things that I've been, you know, really appreciative of is knowing that during this time, with so many unknowns over the last 12 months, with the pandemic and everything, that we've been, you know, Synera has really been flexible in how, you know, again, working with a small company, knowing my budget is limited, knowing this is a new product, very much, you know, why I feel like I've got a good partnership, and it's working through and navigating through a lot of those unknowns when we are self-funding, we are putting so much resources into it, has been great. And I think anytime we're looking for a relationship, that's one of the main things we're looking for. Thanks, Philippe, for joining this panel. Enersys is a complex business with global operations, manufacturing plants across multiple languages and countries. Maybe you can start off with just, you know, introducing the company a little bit, your role, just overall strategy for the organization.
Of course. Thanks, Sural, and thanks for having me as well. So Enersys is a global manufacturer of stored energy solutions for industrial applications. We have a global footprint of engineering, manufacturing, and distribution capabilities. In terms of IT, for us, this means that we are very distributed and heterogeneous. The systems have grown historically in local markets, and that drives now the need for harmonization and consolidation across our business. It also makes IT certainly a key enabler to support the business across these traditional boundaries within our organization. As for my role, I'm heading IT across our EMEA region. My background is in IT-enabled business transformation, specifically in ERP and CRM space. For Enersys, our strategy is driven mostly by the need to consolidate and harmonize our IT landscape, and also to be able to adapt to the changing business conditions and to use technology to create new opportunities.
That's great. I mean, EnerSys is driving various initiatives, Philippe, and when it comes to modernizing your IT landscape or cloud adoption, how are you prioritizing some of these global initiatives? And also, if you can touch on, projects like customer experience, right, or even B2B commerce that you guys are driving. How's that coming together in this sort of post-pandemic timeframe?
So the move to the cloud, I think in our case, like probably for most companies, that's already in progress for some time, I think for all of us. We've certainly seen a significant reduction already of our on-premise infrastructure and applications. And although there's a lot more that we can do, I think the first wave of this move most likely is already in the past. Certainly a trend that we're seeing that for most new projects, a cloud-based approach is pretty much the default choice today. There's a few exceptions to that rule, especially when it comes to systems that are close to core manufacturing activities, where we still have and most likely will have an on-premise footprint for some time to come. You mentioned prioritization. Absolutely, I think prioritization is key also for us as an organization. Improved customer experience and innovative solutions are almost as important, if not more important, than simplification and rationalization of our IT landscape. Ultimately, we need to be able to, to be easy to do business with in order to be successful in terms of IT as well as the wider business context.
Yeah, and Philippe, maybe building on the B2B commerce theme a little bit more. I know EnerSys is using enterprise and customer platforms like SAP and Salesforce and others. Maybe you can build on that a little bit in terms of what role technology is playing in driving that transformation on the customer journey and front office side.
Yes. So I think what we're seeing today is that there's a lot of new concepts that really come from a B2C or that are very common in a B2C setup are also making their way into a B2B scenarios. So we see topics like customer self-service, portals, e-commerce solutions. So very typical B2C setups that now are also relevant and more relevant even given the current situation in a B2B construct. So what we are doing there is certainly that we're looking into ways and into options to expose more and more of our processes to our customers, to allow them to self-serve, but also to enable a new generation of customers that probably has other requirements and other expectations towards service in general, to utilize technology to help them fulfill their requests when they want it and how they want it, and also to fulfill their needs for information in their own ways. So that's certainly things that have now been accelerated also due to the current situation around COVID, etc.
Exactly right, Philippe. Given the need to continuously innovate and transform, I'm just curious, how is EnerSys and how are you driving as head of EMEA IT certain funding related challenges in terms of new business models, in terms of funding your digital innovation initiatives? I think the audience would be very curious to understand your perspectives on that.
The key challenge for us, as for many organizations in the current situation, most likely is prioritization. So what to do first and what maybe not to do, especially given the constraints on investment and also the general economic uncertainties at the moment. Getting a clear view on ROI and business benefits before starting initiatives or new initiatives it was always critical, but I think it's even more critical now. Based on this, the expectations towards also partners like Soneratech are changing for us as well. So we are now moving more and more towards outcome-based engagements, which will help us to reduce or to avoid completely upfront investments, while we're also ensuring a success through mutually aligned goals. So this is certainly a new, I think a new level in terms of relationships that we're trying to seek with our partners that, will really align our interests and also will, drive success for the initiatives that we do start.
Thanks for sharing that, Philippe. So maybe we'll close with a future-looking question. I mean, 2021 is not that far away, and it's been a challenging year, like you said earlier, to say the least, with 2020. So as you look forward from an EnerSys IT lens, what are some of those futuristic, initiatives you're thinking about, and what's your overall vision for 2021 and beyond?
Certainly, we're trying to use the current situation also to progress and enhance our strategy in ways that we are trying to anticipate, new trends, but also areas that won't really be relevant anymore, given the dramatic changes the economy is going through at the moment. So this is certainly something where we just try to use the time that we have available to readjust, refocus, and also accelerate, and maybe also skip certain initiatives that we, might have had planned maybe a year back that just won't be relevant for us anymore. So I think it's a unique opportunity, and also on that opportunity, it's an event like the Digital Acceleration Summit is certainly helpful to gain insights, to share thoughts with other peers from other businesses. So I'm looking forward to gain further insights also during the day too. And thanks again.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Philippe, and thanks to the entire panel. You've heard different perspectives and insights from various industries in terms of how Philippe, Deirdre, and Lee are driving their digital innovation initiatives with unique business models, unique ways to self-fund their initiatives. Gartner recently had their symposium, and they talked about what is called as composable businesses. And it aligns very well with some of our thinking in terms of building blocks to build adaptability and speed. At Soneratech, we pride ourselves in creating new business models to drive committed results. The path to a modern, future-ready digital enterprise is not just about adopting technology or cloud, but it's about creating a self-sustaining, innovative model for growing, reigniting growth in some cases after the pandemic, but also delivering committed results in different engagement and business models. Of course, we leverage our digital accelerators, we leverage our innovation ecosystem, and various tools and solutions around business process automation and cloud with our agile talent and people to deliver these guaranteed ROIs for our customers.
An engaging discussion that was. Thank you all so much for taking the time to share your valuable insights. It was a pleasure to have all of you on the panel, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the summit. So this brings us to the other side of day one, and what has hopefully been a truly enabling experience for new learning around digital transformation, or perhaps even reinforcing current knowledge and practices with fresh perspectives.